Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this last regular season Friday game at Jimmy John's Field for the 2019 season. As we see fireworks for the second to last time this year, we are hoping to see plenty of action in between the lines, as there is so much at stake for the two teams contending tonight. My name is Rich Borland, the voice of the USPBL, as I've been out of the booth for about the past 3 weeks or so due to having to help out in other departments as some of the interns went back to college, but I could not be happier to bring USPBL baseball to you for the final time this season, as it will be Drew Kell on the call the next two nights. As for last evening, right-handed pitcher Donald Goodson worked 6 strong innings, striking out 5 and scattered 2 hits, while Jimmy Latona went 2 for 3 with 3 runs scored and 2 walks to lead the Utica Unicorns. But Malik Blaze homered and went 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs himself and scored 2 more runs, as Colin Rideout finished 2 for 4 and drove in 2 runs as well, while Kyle Orloff homered for the Unicorns. And I'll tell you what, though, Colin Rideout has got a hit in 19 of his last 21 games for Skip Essian's team, as they are officially in first place with that 27-21 record. Meanwhile, the Westside Woolly Mammoths, who are of course taking on the Beavers tonight, just a half game behind them at 26-21. But the Unicorns, like mentioned, move a half game closer to the promised land that is first place to make it all the way to the championship game on a bye next Sunday. The only thing standing in their way are the Westside Woolly Mammoths and the long shot in the Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers. Tonight, the Beavers and Mammoths will duke it out for the 17th time and try to stay alive in the race for at least a semifinal berth. There are so many possibilities that could occur based on how the next few nights go. So if we're taking a look at this from a Westside perspective, they need to beat the Beavers tonight, and if they do so, that means they'll be tied with the Unicorns for first place at that 27-21 record. And ladies and gentlemen, of course, those two teams will be playing in tomorrow night's game, which would be the decision maker to see who would end up on top at the end of the regular season in first place. But if the Beavers are able to ride the wave behind Garrett Chrisman, then things could get very interesting. Say Birmingham Bloomfield wins tonight, that would put them at a 24-21 record. Then say Utica wins tomorrow's contest. That would, of course, put them in the first place slot to go to the championship game directly and wait to see who happens to come out with wins leading up to it next weekend. But for the Beavers, if they win tonight and then again on Sunday, that would put them at 25-21. So if Westside loses tonight and tomorrow, they drop to 26-23, with the Beavers sitting at 25-21 at the end of the weekend. With how close those standings could be, we might just have to start our rainout game from August the 18th between the Beavers and the Hoppers, as the Beavers have played less games than the Mammoths and the Unicorns this year, but still plenty of time to kind of figure out exactly how the playoff picture will look, as Chris Newell is going to try and win out in the 2019 season. He's got a good lineup for it. As we take a look at the pitching matchup tonight, of course, we have the starter who's got quite a record so far this season, Matt Cronin for the Westside Woolly Mammoths. He's 7-0 through 10 total starts on the year, a 2.18 ERA, good for first in the league, as he's got 62 innings under his belt. That's top 5 overall. He's given up 50 hits in those 62 innings pitched, just 15 earned runs to 15 walks with 55 strikeouts. Batters hitting just .220 against him this year, which is good for third overall in the league. Overall this season for Cronin, he's got the slider that's been his bread and butter. He's thrown that 43% of the time. He'll mix both the two-seam and four-seam fastballs in there anywhere from 20 to 25% of the time. And he's got a changeup that he'll mix in occasionally around 10%. On the other end, for the Beavers, I mentioned Garrett Chrisman will have to toe the rubber and take charge for the Beavers against a tough offense in Westside. As so far this season, it's been a little bit of everything for Chrisman. He's got both the two-seam and the four-seam fastballs, a changeup and a curveball that he throws just about evenly throughout between the 4 pitches. So far this season, for both of these guys, they're kind of the same type of pitcher. They throw a lot of strikes. It's just crazy to think about how many hits Garrett Chrisman has given up this year. His ERA sits at 4.93 with a 6-3 record. He's got the second most wins this year. And if you take a look at the top 5 pitchers this season in terms of the record in the win-loss column, most of them have about 50 to 60 hits allowed this year, but Chrisman has been able to get to the 6-win mark while allowing almost double the average for the guys in the top 5. He's allowed 102 hits in the 87 innings he's thrown this year. He's thrown the league-leading 87 and 2/3 innings pitched. He's thrown the most games. He's got the most starts on the season with 16. Second in walks with only 16 of them, compared to the second most strikeouts in the league with 65. Batters are hitting, though, .291 against him. Looking at the lineups going up against these two starting pitchers this evening, we'll start, of course, with the visiting Westside Woolly Mammoths, who are looking to tie the Unicorns for first place if they can get a win here tonight before they face off against them tomorrow. But it'll be Ryan Dobson, the shortstop, leading things off, as he has been tremendous this year. He's got the most hits in the league with 57. Sonny Cortez, he's batting second, playing second. The third best batting average in the league at .318, tied for second with 54 hits, but he's scored the most runs so far with 42. As we see Ethan Whisker, a MVP candidate for Westside, as he started off a little bit slow this year, but he has gotten hot. That second half for Ethan Whisker has really provided a lot for this Westside lineup, as he's second in slugging, first in home runs, and he's also leading the league with 42 RBIs. Batting cleanup tonight, the left fielder, that's Will Johnson. He had a home run in their last game on Tuesday. Batting fifth, that's Dan Williams, the designated hitter, former Utica Unicorn from last year and earlier on this season, but he has fit nicely into the 5 spot, providing some power. He's in the top 10 in home runs. Drew Kitson, speaking of fitting nicely into the lineup, he had played just a week or two to start the season, broke a collarbone, and now he's back over the last month or so, and he has been on an absolute tear. 9 home runs in just 75 at-bats on the season for Drew Kitson. Look for his power tonight. Jake Polshin batting 7th, playing first base. He's top 4 in walks on the year. He's moved down the lineup a little bit, as he was in the 4th spot for most of the season. Jake Barbie, he's batting 8th. He currently has gotten on base in 7 straight games, looking to make that 8 this evening. And then Webb Little on the other end of it as the 9-hole hitter. He's got a 5-game hit streak. And then on the other end for Birmingham Bloomfield, we'll run through it quickly as they're getting ready for the national anthem out on the field. Anthony Maselli, the shortstop, leading off. Ross Haffey, the first baseman, batting second. Adam Gauthier, the other MVP candidate in tonight's contest, batting third. Jack Haranek is your cleanup hitter tonight as the DH. TJ Ward, batting fifth this evening as he moves down a spot, switching with Haranek. Batting sixth, it's Doug Trimble, the left fielder. Batting 7th, Nick Campana. He's in center field tonight. Adon Ordonez batting 8th, and he gets the spot at 3rd. And then Alec Olin rounding out your lineup for the Beavers, starting in right field this evening. Excited to get this one underway. Again, Rich Borland back in the booth. Excited to be here after missing about 3 weeks or so, but in the end, this contest means so much. Mammoths win. They're tied for first, and then it'll be for all the marbles tomorrow. Beavers need to win out the regular season to have a chance at second place. We're going to get the action started right here tonight. We'll go down to the field for the anthem, and when we come back, first pitch here on this Friday night at Jimmy John's Field. All right, national anthem all said and done. That means it is officially time for baseball here on this gorgeous August Friday night as we are getting ready to end that month. But a lot on tap here this weekend in the final regular season stand as these two teams fighting for a lot. We have, of course, the Eastside Diamond Hoppers. They've been in last place, and they've known it for about the last month or so as they have not really been able to keep up with the three other teams in this league. But I'll tell you what, between the Mammoths, the Beavers, and, of course, the Unicorns, it is anybody's championship to win. And Chris Newell and company trying to do that for the third straight time would be quite the feat to accomplish. As Garrett Chrisman, of course, the native of Noblesville, Indiana, a former 37th round draft pick with the San Francisco Giants back in 2014. He has been tremendous so far this season. As I mentioned, his record at 6-3, good for second overall in the league. It's pretty much the number 1 and 2 pitchers in the Western Division going at it today, as of course both Ty Hensley and Don Goodson have been tremendous for the Unicorns this year, but for Chrisman and, of course, his counterpart, Matt Cronin, these two men have been just lights out so far this season. Mentioned these two teams have played so far 16 times this year, and it's been the Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers getting their number 10 out of the 16, outscoring Westside 92-80 in that span. And for how good Westside's offense has been this year, the Beavers have gotten their number as we're getting ready for first pitch again on this gorgeous Friday night for baseball in Utica, Michigan. Again, Rich Borland with you on the call as the Beavers trying to remain in the race for at least a second place position as we have so much to look forward to in the next couple of days as Ryan Dobson now getting ready to start off the night offensively for these Westside Woolly Mammoths. Of course, Dobson with some affiliated experience like the man on the mound and Garrett Chrisman. Dobson, former 30th round draft pick by the Diamondbacks organization, went to Fresno State University. As the first pitch, a fastball in on the hands at 87, right at the third baseman, Adon Ordonez. And that's kind of how you want things to go. Give up the contact, but make sure it's hit right at the guys. And one pitch, one up and one down for Chrisman and the Beavers to start their night. First pitch right at 7:05, 76 degrees here in Utica, and a little bit of shade on the infield. But it has been a sunny day, and into the night we go as Sonny Cortez standing in now for Westside. Backdoor breaking ball, misses low and away for Chrisman, who's out there making his league-leading 17th start of the season. As this one right back up the middle, back-to-back ground balls for Chrisman, back-to-back putouts as he takes care of Cortez all on his own. 2 up and 2 down for the starter. And for the Beavers, who need this win more than anything, it's exactly what you like to see out of your starter. 2 up and 2 down against two guys who have had nothing but success so far this season. Speaking of that, here comes some more success in Ethan Whisker. Most home runs in the league, most RBIs in the league, and he's top 5 in runs scored as he looks at called strike 1 to begin this at-bat. Whisker, a top 8 batting average at .292, a second-best slugging percentage in the league at .554, evens the count up at 1-1, but for Chrisman, got to take advantage early on with the shade, as it's not easy for these hitters to see the ball coming out of your hand, and perfect example right there. Ethan Whisker kind of half-heartedly swung at that pitch, and Chrisman quickly working as he's trying to get a 1-2-3 inning to start the night. This slider misses away. Actually, the curveball, brings the count even to 2-2 on Whisker. 8th pitch of the inning, and it's going to get through a base knock past the shortstop, Anthony Maselli, and Whisker continues the hot bat. Gets his 50th hit of the season right there, and most importantly, keeps this inning alive for the Woolly Mammoths as Will Johnson stepping in now. Mentioned he was batting in the 7th spot in the non-public game on Tuesday in the victory against the Eastside Diamond Hoppers 6-3, but his 1 hit and his 1 for 4 outing was a home run, a solo shot, and probably part of the reason he's gotten moved up into the cleanup spot for tonight's contest. A nice compliment for Whisker, who's batting right ahead of him. But Johnson looks at called strike one to begin this at-bat. Well, Johnson trying to make a name for himself in this organization and in this league. The Atlanta, Georgia native looks at the second pitch of the at-bat. An outside corner gets just enough of it. A nice paint job there from Garrett Chrisman. Will Johnson coming to us out of Eastern Kentucky University, trying to avoid being strikeout victim number one on the night, and he does so as that one misses upstairs. The defense for the Beavers, it's Doug Trimble in left, Nick Campana in center, Alec Oland out there in right, Ordonez at the hot corner, Maselli and TJ Ward up the middle with Ross Haffey, the Birmingham, Michigan native, starting for Birmingham Bloomfield as the 1-2 pitch. Looked to be the changeup in the dirt. Good eye there from Johnson. It's not always easy when you're down in the count on a changeup from Chrisman, but he's able to hold off. Let's see what he works here on the 2-2 pitch. The kick, the push. Fastball at 88 right down Broadway. Swung on and missed. Chrisman gets his first strikeout of the night, strands a 2-out single, and we head to the home half of the first. Beavers coming up to the plate. We're scoreless. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. We head to the home half of the first as the Mammoths get a single from their MVP talent, Ethan Whisker, but unable to get any runs across the board as Anthony Maselli stands in to start the night offensively for the Beavers. It'll be Maselli, Haffey, and Gauthier, 1, 2, 3. Matt Cronin, meanwhile, out here for his 11th start of the season with a 7-0 record as the outside pitch misses just by a hair. Good count to start for Maselli, ahead 2-0. But for Matt Cronin, he's got a tough slate tonight as he's got the best numbers as a starting pitcher in this 2019 season in the USPBL. But against the Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers this year, he's got just 2 outings thus far. He's thrown 11 innings, but he's given up 6 earned runs on 11 hits in that time frame. So it's something that you kind of look at, and it's confusing, if you will, because he's had so much success, but he's given up a decent amount of runs against this Birmingham Bloomfield team. As He throws 2 straight strikes after 3 straight balls to start the evening. Maselli was looking for ball 4 there, but won't get it. Cronin looking to battle back in this fight against Maselli as he hits a hard line drive over to the right side. Out of play it goes as Maselli works the count full. He's now worked a 6-pitch at bat. We'll see who wins this one. Matt Cronin, Anthony Maselli. Breaking ball misses away, and you could tell for a second there Cronin did not have the good of grip that he would like on that pitch, and that's exactly how you want to start the night if you're the Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers. Leadoff man on, and it's also via the walk. Matt Cronin led the league with just 15 walks on the season through his 62 innings pitched, but not a good sign there to start the evening if you're Westside. And we'll see what Ross Haffey can do as he's been moved up into the 2 spot over the last week or so. As Haffey, he's got so many accolades to look over. Second in RBIs at 37, a .313 batting average, which of course is good for 4th in the league. 4th in on-base percentage, top 10 in hits. Is this 0-1 in there for a second strike? Quickly, Haffey down in the count 0-2. Cronin trying to get right back up on the horse, if you will, or the Mammoth, of course. But not an easy slate against a guy in Haffey, whether you're ahead 0-2 or down 3-0 in the count. Mentioned Haffey, second in the league with those 10 home runs, tied for 7th with 29 runs scored. He's also got top 6 in the league with 23 walks. As this 0-2 misses up and in, Cronin trying to keep Haffey a little uncomfortable up there at the plate. Mentioned Haffey, of course, right from here in Birmingham, Michigan, as he joined the league a little bit later on in the season, as this 1-2 pitch misses well inside. So a little bit of a different story for both Maselli and Haffey. Maselli starts off 3-0 and then works the count full. Haffey starts the count down 0-2, and he's worked it all the way back to 2-2, but he can't hold back on this pitch. Fastball upstairs. Haffey cannot hold back as strikeout victim number 1 in the books for Matt Cronin, as he had 5 strikeouts in the game on the 21st of August, 9 days ago, against these Beavers in that 7-inning affair. Allowed just 2 runs on 6 hits in that contest, but most importantly, didn't have any walks. As Gauthier, what a contest here between these two fine gentlemen, as Gauthier looks at called strike 1. That's a perfect pitch to start the battle against this guy, who's very aggressive up at that plate. 0-1, ground ball, hit left side, could be an inning-ending double play. Dobson over to Cortez, but Pulsion cannot hold on over there at the first base bag. That ball in the dirt. Cortez just couldn't get enough arm strength on it to complete the inning-ending double play, but they get the lead runner out at second, as Maselli will have to retreat back to the dugout as the 6-4 putout is recorded. Gauthier reaching on the fielder's choice, as Haranek will stand in now. Batted in the 5th spot in the non-public game on Wednesday, which the Beavers did win by a score of 8-3 over the Unicorns, as the backdoor slider misses the zone just by a little bit, though. Is a good eye there from Haranek to get ahead in the count 1-0. Haranek, a top 10 batting average at .279 in the league, swings right through that 1-0 slider from Cronin. Evens this count up at 1-1, but Haranek, in his second year with the Beavers, another Michigan product, comes to us from Ortonville, as the 1-1 up and in, and that was a good enough placed pitch for Cronin. Looks as if Haranek got around on it. It was just where that ball was placed. It's exactly where you're going to put it. So he pitches that one inside on the hands enough to keep that one foul down the right field line. And as Haranek trying to avoid being the second strikeout victim of the night for Cronin, as this backdoor pitch, changeup it looked like, ends up missing the zone by just a hair. But that's a great eye from Haranek. Saw it all the way through and made sure it was not going to be called strike 3. Cronin, the kick, the push, the 2-2. Fastball hit, and it's just past the diving first baseman there in Jake Pulsion. And out there in right field, Whisker brings it on home as the first hit of the night is recorded for the Beavers. Runners, though, now on first and second. Beavers trying to do everything they can to get a run in this inning against Cronin. It's one thing to not be able to get hits or at least base runners on, but it's a whole nother type of defeat when you have the opportunity and cannot come through with it. But we'll see what TJ Ward can do as he's in here for his second season with the Beavers. Him and his teammate Nick Campana were college teammates, had the first conference championship for the University of Hartford, and then just a few months later end up being victorious as champions with the Beavers last year. As Ward looks at a couple of pitches, one for a strike and then one for a ball, as Cronin trying desperately to not have to get to the sixth batter in the lineup in this inning, as it was a walk and then a strikeout, which led to a fielder's choice, and then the single from Haranek if you're just joining us. Will Johnson in left, Drew Kitson in center, Ethan Whisker out there in right, Webb Little at third, Dobson at short, Cortez at second, Pulsion at first, as TJ Ward on a 1-2 count makes a base knock go into left field, as Gauthier's going to get the throw around from home, a play at the plate, and getting around the tag was Adam Gauthier. A tremendous slide from Chris Newell's MVP, but it's TJ Ward who comes through with the RBI knock and drives in the first run of the game for either team. And I told you, going up against a guy in Matt Cronin, that is just something you don't see all too often, but the Beavers strike first here in the home half of the first inning, and we'll see what Doug Trimble can do to try and continue this good inning here for Chris Newell's team. So the gamble works because I'll tell you what, Gauthier got the home sign from Chris Newell before Will Johnson had gotten that baseball, but I'll tell you what, Johnson had that ball in his glove prior to Gauthier rounding third base, but that throw off by just enough as Gauthier able to slide around it, but Douglas Trimble pops out to the first baseman, Jake Pulsion, for out number 3, but not before the Beavers can take advantage and get one run across the board in this inning. They take the 1-0 lead into the second. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. We head to inning number 2 on this August the 30th, a gorgeous Friday night for baseball, and look at that. Dan Williams with an unconventional infield hit with what felt like a bunt. He just got it off the end of the bat, and it just trickled down that third baseline as if it was a bunt for a hit, but in the end, Dan Williams with an infield single, something that I'm sure he's not all used to hearing, but hey, you know what? Mammoths will take it. After allowing the run on the 2 singles from Haranek and Ward, Adam Gauthier reached on the fielder's choice, came in to score the first run of the game as Drew Kitson standing in. He has been tremendous since returning from that what we thought might have been a season-ending surgery, or season-ending injury, excuse me, as Kitson looks at ball one to begin this at-bat. Made it onto SportsCenter's top 10 plays in 2018. Was expecting to have a giant year, but he got that early injury, and not much better in this scenario. Ground ball up the middle, Maselli to T.J. Ward, and that beautifully played there by the middle infielders as Kitson rolls into one for two quick outs, and the leadoff single for Dan Williams is going to end up being forgotten about as Kitson hits one into an unfortunate spot, but the 6-4-3 double play is recorded. Two down after the leadoff single for Williams. Jake Polshin, meanwhile, looks at called strike one to begin this at-bat. Polshin was 0 for 4 with two strikeouts in the game on Tuesdays. He was batting in the cleanup spot. Quickly looks at his second consecutive pitch for a called strike. Polshin, meanwhile, out of Menifee, California, as he looks at a breaking ball that misses low and away. Came to us from Houston Baptist University, where he attended for 2 years. 2018, had just a .244 average, as he will not be able to get on base in this scenario. A strikeout looking on the 1-2 pitch, retires Polshin, and an unconventional 1-2-3 inning for Chrisman after the leadoff infield single from Dan Williams to retire the Mammoths in order in the second. We go to the home half. Beavers looking to add on some insurance. They lead it 1-0. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. Into the home half of the second inning we go. Bottom of the order. Two up for Birmingham Bloomfield, 7-8-9. Nick Campana, Adon Ordonez, Alec Oland. As Campana looks at a front door slider for ball one to begin this at-bat. It's been a quick night of work for Garrett Chrisman. On the other end for Matt Cronin, that first inning, it took him 24 pitches to get through those 6 batters, which is something he is not used to. But he gets the leadoff man and Nick Campana out with a ground out to third to start things off in the second. As I'll tell you what, Garrett Chrisman, 13 pitches in inning number 1, allowed just the 1 hit with 2 ground outs and a strikeout. Gave a leadoff infield single to Dan Williams, who then got a double play and a strikeout to keep him at just 20 pitches through 2 frames. As Matt Cronin's going to have a couple of quick innings to keep him on pace to go at least 6 or 7, as Ordonez with a hard hit ball back up the middle, but Ryan Dobson shuffling to his left makes the play with ease. 2 groundouts to the left side of the infield have retired Campana and Ordonez, which brings up Alec Oland, the number 9 hitter for these Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers. Alec Oland, mentioning to you, as he's kind of still trying to figure out exactly what part of his game is his bread and butter. He's kind of just, for the most part, overall, an average player at all parts of the game. Good defender. Numbers offensively not where he wants them to be. 221 on the season. Comes to us from Crown Point, Indiana. As this one taken to the right side on the 0-1 pitch. Ethan Whisker! Yes, sir! A nice slide out in right field. Ends the Beavers in order in the second inning. It's plays like that earn you the MVP candidate as Whisker ends the second with a nice sliding catch. We head to the third. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. All right, so a big second inning was needed for Matt Cronin, and he does it. Count them, just 5 total pitches in that inning number 2. Retired Campana on a 1-0 ground out to third. Ordonez grounds out to short on a first pitch. And Olin flying out to right field with that spectacular catch from Ethan Whisker. Gets the order retired in the home half of the second for the Mammoths, but they're coming up back to the plate here. It's Jake Barbie. Jake Barbie with a quick pop out to the left side. Maselli underneath it makes the catch. 1 up and 1 down for Chrisman, who outside of the single from Whisker and the infield single from Dan Williams, he's been absolutely stellar. Webb Little standing in now. He's got a 5-game hit streak on tap as he looks at called strike 1 to begin his first plate appearance of the night. As Chrisman looking ever so sharp, that pitch at 80 miles an hour looked to be that breaking ball. As quickly Little down 0-2 in this count. As Chrisman not messing around tonight, you can tell he's in some type of zone as the leg kick, the push, the 0-2 to Little. Fastball, 2-seam looked like, which he throws more than any other pitch at 32% of the time. That one missed low and away, but got to imagine that's going to be setting something up here. And yes, right there looked to be that change-up at 80 miles an hour, and Little fouls it off, stays alive for at least one more, but through the first time through the order, you give up a single to the possible MVP of the season and then an infield single. You're looking pretty darn sharp as this 1-2 pitch there again at 80 miles an hour. The breaking ball misses in the dirt. So the count even at 2-2 for Little. I don't think Chrisman's going to mess around anymore. He should go right after him. But if you're Little, you got to be ready for it as well. Open stance, the 2-2. Tries to take it the other way as the 89-mile-an-hour fastball ends up going into the stands to our left. Webb Little coming to us from Ithaca College. It's a D3 school. He comes to us from Fayetteville, New York, as this 2-2 Two-seam fastball at 89 miles an hour. Misses low and away. That's the second two-seamer that's missed low and away in this at-bat. So if you're Chrisman, you might have to go after him with that four-seamer right down Broadway, and he ends up not throwing it for a strike, and he does not get the call on the go-around there from Webb Little. So he earns the payoff pitch walk, the one-out base on balls for the number 9 hitter. That's big-time stuff, getting a base runner on for the top of this order, which has been ruthless, if you will, this year between Dobson, Cortez, and Whisker. All three of these players have had some tremendous success. Whisker 292, Cortez 318, and of course Dobson right there at 310. As this off-speed pitch looked to be that breaking ball, the curveball called for strike one on the outside part of the plate. And I'll tell you right here and now, ladies and gentlemen, Garrett Chrisman can pinpoint his breaking ball. It's going to be a long, long night there for Westside. The 0-1 fastball looked to be a bit low, missing at 89 miles an hour in the dirt. Mentioned to you, Dobson has some affiliated experience getting picked up in the 30th round by the Diamondbacks. His father also played affiliate baseball, so you know the bloodlines are there. As he's ready for the 1-1. Breaking ball well out in front of that pitch was Dobson, so far out in front that he, like Dan Williams an inning ago, made contact with the end of the bat. Instead of a single down the third baseline, this one ricochets off of Gauthier's mask behind home plate. As Webb Little over there on that first base bag, taking a quick look. Webb Little on the season does not have any stolen bases or attempts, as this one hit hard but placed well enough inside that all Dobson could do with it was hit it where he did. Hit hard, just well foul. As Chrisman starting to throw more pitches in this inning between Little and Dobson. Pitch number 14 of the inning coming up right here. The 1-2 to Dobson. In the dirt, good stop there from Gauthier, but an even better job to keep that quick eye and quick response on Little over at the first base bag. Dobson with 57 hits in 46 games, 30 runs scored, and 17 RBIs. The 2-2 swung on and missed. Dobson with a healthy cut, but he can't make any contact on it. And that is strikeout number 3 on the night for Garrett Chrisman, looking sharp as Sonny Cortez now coming up to the plate, 0 for 1 with that grounder back up the middle to Chrisman. He retired him on the 1-0 pitch. Sonny Cortez coming to us from San Pedro, California. This liner up the middle, playing shallow was Campana, but he backs up enough to make the catch on the run as the Mammoths are retired. As the one-out walk to Little goes unscathed in the third, but the Beavers still out in front by a run. We head to the home half. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. We head to the home half of the third, back to the USPBL YouTube channel. Rich Borland here with you for the final time this season. It's been a pleasure covering the USPBL again this season, second year full time. As we go back to the top of the order for the Beavers, it's Maselli up to the plate. Looks at ball one to begin this AB, and then quickly fouls off the 1-0 pitch from Cronin, who's out there for his third inning of work. 29 pitches through the first two frames, but it was a tally of two different innings, 24 pitches in inning number one and just 5 in inning number two, as Maselli looks at a breaking ball and ends up missing as well. So he's got a favorable 2-1 count coming up right here, as this one misses away at count at 86 miles an hour. Not sure what Cronin's issue with Maselli is tonight, but having trouble as he's been the only walk relinquished by the right-hander. And for the second consecutive time, Maselli's going to earn that base on balls as he gets to the first base bag. He quickly was forced out at second for the second out back in inning number one on a ground out from Gauthier. But we'll see what Ross Haffey can do in his second appearance tonight. He was 0 for 1 with the swing and miss strikeout back in that first inning. Mentioned all the accolades for Haffey. He's coming off a big game. Went 3 for 5 in the contest on Wednesday with a home run and 2 singles with 3 RBIs and 2 runs scored. Will Johnson, meanwhile, he's going to run this one down all the way out from left, as that one was in shallow center field, but Johnson had a beat on it right away. Calls off Kitson. 2 up and 1 down for the Beavers in this home half of the third, as Gauthier trying to be that MVP talent for the Beavers and creep them back into the standings. As we mentioned, they're sitting in third place at the moment with that 23-21 record, behind the Mammoths, who sit at 26-21. Gauthier, first pitch slider, looks like it missed just a hair inside, according to our home plate umpire. Gauthier, your beer batter of the game. If he gets a knock, just $5 craft beer down that third baseline, as this slider at 83 swung on and missed. Back-to-back sliders from Cronin, one that missed inside, and then this one swung on and missed. It looked good to be a strike on the outside corner as well. Good lead there for Maselli over on first. Takes a step back. Slider again from Cronin. This one, though, misses just inside. Number 21 out there on the bump brings the count to 2-1, as he could desperately use a ground ball that could lead to 2. Maselli, meanwhile, though, have to keep tabs on him over there at that first base bag. 11 for 11 on the base pass this year. But at the same time, you got to focus on the task at hand at the plate. Second 3-1 count we've seen from Cronin in this inning, as that slider, not sure where it missed, looked good from up here, but that is the second walk this inning for Cronin, who had just 15 walks in 62 innings coming into play tonight, as the walks have runners on the bases for the Beavers. And Hranek with a golden opportunity to add some insurance for these Beavers, who need it more than anything. Mentioned the amount of stake in hand here for these two teams. Ground ball, right side. Polshin's the one that's going to end up taking it defensively. Cronin over there to cover the bag and retire Hranek. A little disappointed in Hranek right there. Had a great opportunity to kind of work the count against Cronin and try and make something happen. Not the worst case scenario. You do get the runners moved over with that slow ground ball to the right side, but if your teammate TJ Ward can't come through for a second time in 3 innings, then that ground out will not mean anything, as Brian Kluppy, manager of these Westside Woolly Mammoths, out there to talk with not just Cronin, but also the infield, as obviously a big situation at hand with runners on second and third and the 2 outs on the board. TJ Ward already with the only RBI on the night with his single in that first inning that drove in Gauthier. But a little conversation course, Cluppy, manager last year of the Bakersfield Train Robbers, who were winners of the Pecos League. Sonny Cortez, one of the marquee names in the USPBL this year, came over with Cluppy, trying to get back-to-back championships in different leagues for those two gentlemen, as TJ Ward looks at called strike one to begin his second plate appearance of the night. He got his 50th hit in that first inning, and boy, was it a big one, as he was looking to drive in more in this instance. And maybe that's something that Brian Cluppy had mentioned. You know, he's already had success in one of his at-bats on the night, and you have two Beavers in the dam, if you will, on the bases. He is eager than ever, and look at those swings. Proven pivotal there as TJ Ward exits the batter's box with a big smile on his face. That was a quick at-bat, but whatever Brian Cluppy said to Cronin and the guys, got the job done. Beavers strand two in scoring position in the third, but they remain out in front 1-0. We head to the fourth. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. We head to inning number 4. Birmingham Bloomfield out in front by a run against Westside, as the Beavers desperately trying to win out the regular season and get somewhere close to that second place finish, as it'll be either Westside or Utica that'll finish on top, as Ethan Whisker quickly looks at 2 pitches out of the zone to start off inning number 4 for Garrett Chrisman, who's got just 36 pitches through 3 innings of work, but he's had a tough start to this frame. We welcome Mr. Matt Cripsey up to the booth, the long-tenured USPBL photographer. Is year 3 for you, or?
It would be, yes, year 3 for me as a someone working here, but came as a fan in 2016. So I've been involved somehow, some way through the 4 years of this league's existence.
And to kind of put in perspective, why don't you let everybody know what year of school you're going into?
Well, I'll be a senior in high school next year, so 17 and, still young.
Just goes to show you put the work in, you get to where you want to be. As we get back into the action, Will Johnson shows bunt, pulls back, as he technically looks at called strike 1. Now, whether that was a little show to try and see what the infielders would be doing, or if that was simply just a quick fake to see if Chrisman would be able to get back into the strike zone, as he does. That's what I'm guessing it was more for after the 4-pitch walk to Whisker. Johnson 0 for 1 with the swing and miss strikeout on 5 pitches. That ended the top of the first inning as he quickly is down 0-2, eagerly chasing that fastball that was upstairs out of the zone. But it's situations like that that Chrisman kind of differentiates himself, because I'll tell you what, Matt, I was looking at the statistics of some of the best individual pitchers in the league as that pitch just missed on the outside part of the plate, brings the count to 1-2. But in terms of some of the pitchers that are at the top of a lot of categories in this league, the one thing that Garrett Chrisman kind of differentiates himself with is he's got about double the amount of hits allowed compared to everybody that's kind of in the same conversation as him, as he's somehow able to kind of spread the hits out as the batter, Will Johnson, flies out to Campana in center field for out number 1.
I'd love to see his batting average on balls in play because, it's not something you see. I mean, he's been very effective this year for the Beavers. He's been good at eating innings for them and just being a lock in the rotation for them, because you know he's going to go out there and he's going to give you innings. But it would be interesting to see that how that statistic plays for him, because you happen to see did he go there?
I don't think he
Looks
went.
like he didn't.
As it's called strike one either way.
But anyways, he's been a good lock for the Beavers in that rotation, and as long as you can pitch out of those jams and you can just go deep into games, that's really all Chris Newell's going to ask from you.
As the 0-1 to Williams fouled off the end of the bat, which he reached on the infield single back in the second inning, but Chrisman could really use a ground ball that could lead to 2 here. Williams, of course, now with a lot of speed out of the box. Whisker over there on first base trying to get into scoring position. Won't do it here as the third strike thrown to Williams, but he fouls off another one, trying to get his second hit of the night. Chrisman with 36 pitches through the 3 innings, trying to remain under 50 through 4 as Williams calls time, tries to mix up the rhythm there for Chrisman. Mentioned Williams started with the Unicorns this year. That was the team he finished with last year. Won't do anything here on the 0-2 as he swings through, and that will be strikeout number 4 on the night for Chrisman. That's good enough for out number 2, and here comes big bad Drew Kitchen. I mentioned the little stat that you and I compiled prior to that game starting, but yeah, 9 home runs in 76 at-bats. That's incredible stuff.
About 1 home run every 8.5 at-bats, which is absolutely nuts, especially when you have the injury like Kitson did, and then you come back with no prior experience, just sitting and trying to heal and get healthy to come back and help your team. And that's exactly what he's done for this team. I mean, Mammoths have not even arguably, they have the best offense in this league right now,
yep.
And Kitson has been a massive addition for them.
Yeah, technically overall, Westside with a 265 batting average, good for first in the league. Beavers 251, good for second. As these two teams offensively have, without a doubt, been the juggernauts this year. As Kitson looks at a called strike after looking at the first pitch out of the zone. For Utica, I mean, yes, they've had success from Latona and Elliott, Rideout, to name a few offensively. Eric Jones, who went to the Twins, but it's been their pitching that has really gotten them to first place so far this year. Is Ethan Whisker out there on the base paths. He gets stolen base number 1 on the season, as he was 0 for 1 coming into play tonight. We'll see if the stealing of the base, getting into scoring position, will prove pivotal. See if Drew Kitson can get a base knock and tie this baseball game up. Of course, Kitson not really looking to tie this one with the amount of home runs he's got. The 1-2 from Chrisman in the dirt, but again, that awareness behind the plate from Gauthier, I mean, it's second to none. I mean, he is without a doubt an MVP candidate between him, Whisker. I mean, you've seen as many games as I have this year, if not more over the last month or so, Matt, and kind of dive into a little bit about how Whisker and Gauthier are kind of going toe-to-toe here for that MVP race.
Well, it's a great race you're seeing right now, and the interesting part is Gauthier joined this as the starting catcher this year as Chrisman delivers here. Oh.
Ground ball, back up the middle, and it's going to get past Maselli at short. Campana out in center field with a hose to home, but it's not going to be in time. Gauthier with a quick throw to second to try and get Kitson on the come-around, but Whisker and Kitson switch spots as Drew drives in the first run of the game with a clutch RBI single. Gets over there into scoring position on the throw to home. But the Mammoths are officially on the board with some offense here in the fourth.
Great base running awareness by Kitson out there. Watching him turn around first, he did not hesitate for going to second. And maybe you want to credit the first base coach, Paul, out there. But great base running, and that's how you win games right there, those heads-up plays.
They make the utmost difference as Polshin looks at a a curveball that misses away. Polshin 0 for 1 with a looking strikeout. Struck out on just 4 pitches to end the top of the second inning as he looks at a changeup at just 80 miles an hour. That changeup from Garrett Chrisman, it's a good one. He throws it just about as often as he throws his 2 fastballs. See what he comes home with here on the 1-1 affair. Look to be that fastball in on the hands, but it's going to get down. Campana out there in center cannot get to it in time, and coming in to score is Kitson. Back-to-back singles for the Mammoths put them out in front 2-1.
And you want to talk about that base running I just mentioned. You saw the center fielder. He did not even bother with the throw to home. And, yes, Kitson's not exactly a slow runner. He's quite a quick one on those bases, but even then, plays like that set you up later in the game, just like you saw here. And, baseball is a game that involves a lot of mental decisions, and that was one of them.
Through the first 3 innings, without a doubt, this game had been pitched better by Garrett Chrisman over Matt Cronin. But for the Westside Woolly Mammoths, all they need is 1 inning to really kind of change the entire dynamic of a baseball game. And you're seeing it evident right here is this one into right center field. 3 straight singles in a row, and Jake Polshin, who's not known for his speed, trying to get over to third base and just in there safely, sliding in with that left hand. What a throw from Alec Olin, but a better aggressive slide from Jake Polshin, but it might come at a price as he's grabbing that left hand gingerly, and I'm not sure exactly if he's going to be able to stay in this one, but he's a tough guy out there. California native doing his due diligence, hustling over there to the third base bag, and the Mammoths just continuing this offensive onslaught here in this top of the 4th inning. Garrett Chrisman desperately needs to retire Webb Little before we get back to the top of this order.
I can't tell if he's wincing in pain or not, but, maybe, I believe he is, but I guess he's just going to play through it. Maybe he'll see the trainer after this, but.
Looks like he's grabbing one of his hands. I can't tell if it's the left or the right, but either way, Jake Polshin definitely battling some type of discomfort in one of his hands. We're hoping he's all right, but I'll tell you what, back-to-back singles for these Mammoths have been able to give them the life that they needed here in this top of the 4th inning. Little, meanwhile, down in the count quickly, 0-1. 0-1 pitch, misses inside at 88. You can see him bend out of the way of that one as we get into this top of the 4th with 2 outs on the board. Webb Little with a great opportunity to drive in an insurance run as he won't do it here on the 1-1 breaking ball. Great pitch there from Chrisman. Throws the pitch that he throws the least amount of on a 1-1 count. And Webb Little pulls the string, can't hold back on it. See if Chrisman comes back with that breaking ball. I would if I was him. Instead, fastball, and instead it's a base knock into right. Easily coming in to score is Polshin. Over there to third is Barbie, and he gets out of the tag from Ordonez as 2 very close plays at third almost end the inning, but some stealthy base running from Westside have been able to give them the 3-1 lead here in this top of the 4th. And taking a quick look, it is, yes, all with 2 outs.
Looks like Beavers have someone heading to the bullpen right now. We know how important this game is. Looks like, is it Jared Price, I believe? But we know how important this game is for the Beavers right now, and Newell will not hesitate to pull Chrisman, as good as he has been for this team this year.
As Dobson back to the top of the order we go. So Little drives in another run for these Westside Woolly Mammoths. 4 straight singles after 2 quick outs after the leadoff walk to Ethan Whisker. Back to the top of this order as Dobson fouls off the 0-1 pitch. Quickly down in this one, 0-2, but Chrisman desperately needs to get Dobson here, because if not, then the Mammoths will have batted around as Sonny Cortez looming in the on-deck circle. He would be their 9th man up at the plate in this inning, as it was Whisker who reached on that 4-pitch walk that started this long top of the 4th. 0-2, fastball at 88, right around that top right quadrant of the strike zone, but called ball 1 just by a hair. I don't know how Dobson laid off that pitch down 0-2, but hey, you know what? There's a reason he's standing down there and we're up here. The 1-2 to Dobson. Change up at 79. Well out in front of it as count remains at 1-2. You see Dobson well out in front of the changeup on the 1-2 pitch. I'd go somewhat of the off-speed variety again, whether it's the changeup or the curveball.
Certainly.
Don't want to throw a fastball to Dobson, and there it is, the changeup at 79. And maybe Brian Kluppy and company were thinking the same thing, because Webb Little takes second base on the defensive indifference, or with the runner on third and in Barbie. Not going to have a stolen base there for Little as he takes that one uncontested. Runners on second and third. Dobson trying to drive in some more insurance, but I'll tell you what, the Beavers, who desperately need to win this ball game, if they do not, then there's a darn good chance that they finish in third place on the season overall. And in fact, they will be the third place team if they lose here tonight. Is this one just reaching out, staying alive, the third consecutive foul ball hit here for Ryan Dobson.
It's interesting to see how their at-bats have changed since the start of the inning, all the way back when you had Will Johnson hitting with 1 out. You know, he was retired on 3 straight pitches, and Crispin has been aggressive with the strike zone, but now that they're sort of laying off and letting him throw his pitches, you've seen with the Kitson at-bat, and now with these, that you get results just like that.
Rounding third, headed for home is Webb Little. We might have a play at the plate. The tag in time, as a great catch there from Adam Gauthier. A good throw from Trimble in left. Stopped the bleeding, but not before Westside puts a 4 spot up in the top of the 4th. We head to the home half. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. Welcome back, everybody, to the USPBL YouTube channel. Rich Borland alongside Matt Cripsey for this one. Doug Trimble And then, of course, Nick Campana, Adon Ordonez due up for the Beavers in what feels like almost you need to get some type of run in this home half of the fourth inning. Don't want to think that the Mammoths can just cruise their way through the rest of this one. You need to battle back. After getting one run in inning number one, you allow 4 runs in the fourth inning. Webb Little over at the hot corner, who had that clutch RBI single before he was thrown out at home plate for the third and final out, makes the play for out number 1 to start off the home half of the fourth inning. Trimble down on 3 pitches. Campana coming up now with nobody on and 1 out. A big-time at-bat here from the Eastchester, New York native. 0 for 1 with a ground out to third. As Cronin mentioned, he was at 44 pitches through the 3 innings of work. But what a long inning offensively for Westside as Campana looks at ball 1 to begin the at-bat and quickly ball 2. For Chrisman, 36 pitches through 3 innings. He allowed just 2 hits in that span, and then he allowed 4 runs on 5 hits in that fourth inning. I'd be shocked to see him come back out as Jared Price is continuing to get loose out in that bullpen. Campana looks at the third straight pitch. This one in there for a strike. As Cronin back to home plate he comes. This one misses low. Looked to be his slider that he loves to go to more than any other pitch at 43% of the time. But he's on the verge of throwing, count it, what would be his 4th walk already in the contest tonight, which is something we are nowhere close to hearing. But Campana gets the base knock up the middle, as that is a big-time hit. As our buddy JJ, the field general, picking up the loose bat. Ordonez, I mean, it feels as if every single scenario for the Beavers throughout the rest of this game feels so critical because of what's at stake. You lose this game, you're playing in the play-in game on, of course, what would be Friday night next week against the Eastside Diamond Hoppers. But what would be even more exciting, if Westside does win this game tonight, that means tomorrow's contest against the Unicorns would in fact be for all the marbles, if you will, and the winner of tomorrow night's game would in fact be your USPBL regular season champ if Westside holds on tonight, as Ordonez fouls off the first opportunity he sees down the third baseline.
And as much as you love having a tiebreaker like that, the Beavers are going to have their work cut out for them tonight. Matt Cronin has only allowed 4 runs once and has never allowed more than that in his 10 starts here at the USPBL. Not to mention that he has 8 out of 10, quality starts this year. It's not going to be easy for the Beavers, and Newell's going to be faced with a lot of tough decisions today, but got to start somewhere. Just don't let him get into a groove.
1-1 to Ordonez, slider right down Broadway, called strike 2. Oh, and not only that, though, Matt, but you also have to keep the Mammoths off the board for another 4 or 5 innings.
Yeah, of course. And that's a little bit easier said than done, but looking down at the Beaver bullpen, everyone's there now. So Newell's ready, and I'm sure he's told those guys, be ready to pitch a lot today and tomorrow because any of them could get that call. And, you know, we know Newell. Newell wants to win, as does everyone here, and he will pull anyone if they're not looking like he wants them to. So
the count even at 2-2 on Ordonez. Missing at 82 miles an hour was that pitch that looked good, but it was definitely off the plate. Nice try there on the frame from Jake Barbie behind the dish. But a better job for Ordonez. And I'll tell you what, if you're Cronin here, you do not want to allow a walk. The 3-2 swung on, fouled off. It gets out of play. As I'll tell you what, these two teams, their offenses, they have been, head-to-head. The Beavers, 92 runs coming into play tonight against Westside in just 16 games. The Mammoths with 80 in 16 games against the Beavers. Ordonez, though, desperately trying to get on base in this scenario. Cronin, on the other end of it, he could use a ground ball that could lead to an inning-ending double play, but it is, in fact, walk number 4 on the night for Cronin, which allows runners to go to first and second and give the Beavers some type of hope because, like we mentioned, Cronin, not a guy who throws a lot of walks, as he's now going to have to deal with Alec Olin with 2 runners on and 1 man out. So first pitch to Olin, outside corner, called strike one, as Cronin, a little bit different from the norm, if you will. He's 7-0 on the season through his 10 outings on the year. And I had a conversation with our public address announcer, John Grabb, prior to the start of this game. I'll get back to that conversation in a second. Olin with a base knock, but it's not going to be enough to allow Nick Campana to come in to score. But either way, that's a big-time spot there from the number 9 hitter to bring the bases loaded for the top of the order with just the one out on the board. But back to the conversation with Cronin having that 7-0 record, there have been 4 pitchers in USPBL history that have gotten to 8 wins on a season. Matt Cripsey, how many of them can you name? Put you on the spot here, bud.
All right, got to go with Randy Wynn.
That's one.
Got to be one. Josh Mason.
That is 2.
Okay, let's go with Donnie Murray.
No,
Not
Donnie Murray.
Okay.
As Maselli does look at a breaking ball, the slider for called strike one.
I'm feeling good about Jeremy Holcomb.
That is 3, so 3 for 4. Who is your missing piece? And I'll tell you right now, as Maselli looks at the 0-1, it is not a name you would expect, and it is a player that played 2 years here in the USPBL, but is no longer here because he got called up to an affiliated organization.
That I would not expect. Ooh, I was going to say Jake Welch, Beaver pitcher, but, man, I'm really not sure.
So technically, he ended his USPBL career as a Beaver, but he didn't start it there. And he also did not get an 8-win season as a Beaver. Kyle Olagus. Something you didn't expect, did you?
I was not expecting that, no, but
8 wins as a uni in
Goodness.
2018.
In 2018. Wow, I was not expecting that. But, hey, good for him with the Rockies now. So
amen to that. So meanwhile, back to the action tonight. Maselli, he's worked the count 2-2. Cronin trying to leave him loaded as the slider looked like it was enough to get Maselli to go around, but first base umpire Sal Giacomontonio said that he, in fact, did not go all the way around, and Cronin is going to have to make one of the best pitches he's had in his entire season right here and now as the count rings full. Maselli ready for anything. Payoff pitch. Slider misses inside, and the run comes in to score. Count it. Second walk of the inning. 5th on the night for Cronin. That is without a doubt the season high in walks in a game there for Matt. As Mr. Cripsey, you said, what was the season high for a start there?
4.
It was 4. So right on cue. Most walks allowed by Cronin in a start. And how about this? Anthony Maselli with 3 out of the 5.
That's crazy right there. And I was doing a little bit of stat calculation earlier, but
yes,
the bullpen, when they throw after Matt Cronin starts, averages giving up just about 1.5 runs. Obviously, you can't give up 1.5 runs, but as crazy as it is to say, if the Beavers want to score against the pitcher, it's going to have to be Cronin. And, they've had 9 base runners already, or 8 base runners, excuse me. This is the time, and Ross Haffey, if there's anyone to do it and make this game a little more interesting, it's him.
And I'll tell you what, they're going to ride Cronin as long as possible, because if they do not get the victory tonight, that means they'll have to take on the first-place Unicorns, who, if they lose again tomorrow, that would lock Utica in for that first-place spot, as the 0-1 to Haffey, fastball outside corner, called strike 2, quickly down in this count. Is that 0-1 fastball in there? So if you're Haffey, what do you expect here on an 0-2 count? As you just saw the fastball, I'd be shocked to see anything but a slider. And there it is.
Yeah.
As it's nowhere close, but maybe that sets something up inside, as Cronin does have a changeup he likes to throw about 10% of the time. Wouldn't be a bad scenario to do so. The 1-2 to Haffey. Instead, fastball missing away, as the count now 2-2 on the Birmingham, Michigan native. Ross Haffey trying to be the hometown hero, if you will. He's got a good count, 2-2. You just saw the off-speed pitch miss, and here comes one at 84 miles an hour. Haffey with a long swing, makes contact, but fouls it off, stays alive for at least one more.
Interesting to see Haffey swing right there. Cronin's been, you got to trust your slider if you're Cronin, but at the same time, sometimes you got to try and outsmart the hitter, and a fastball on one of those 3 last pitches would have been interesting.
This one at 88, swung on, fouled off again. Haffey seeing the ball well, just unable to put it in between the lines. Runner over at third is Adon Ordonez. Runner at second is Alec Oland, and the runner at first is Anthony Maselli. And between those 3 gents on the base pass, plenty of speed between them. As the 2-2 to Haffey, fastball inside this time around, the 3rd consecutive foul ball off the bat of Haffey as he continues to force Matt Cronin to throw pitches.
Nice to see that pitch inside. Cronin trying to switch it up a little bit more. He's one to vary his pitches right and left rather than up and down, but it'd be interesting to see a high fastball out of the zone from him here.
2-2 slider at 83 away, so Haffey's been able to foul off and fight off these fastballs, and he's able to lay off the slider. If I'm Matt Cronin here, I would do everything in my power to throw the pitch that you throw the most often for a strike. You got to throw a slider, maybe something that starts inside and devils over the heart of the plate, and it looks exactly like we saw right there, and Haffey able to foul it off again as that is quickly taking a quick look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pitches in this at-bat as the 10th coming up here to the number 10 on the Birmingham Bloomfield Beaver team.
Just got to buckle down and throw.
Payoff pitch. There it is, the slider at 82. Swung on and missed half-heartedly, and Ross Haffey disappointed with himself. A long at-bat, a good at-bat, but you would normally say that in a scenario where you see 10 pitches or more, but with bases loaded, 1 out, you're there to drive in runs, unable to do so, and when it's a spot that your team needed you most, it's a big-time loss there, but a big-time spot for Matt Cronin, who wins the long battle. But can he win the war? That is the question. Adam Gauthier swings through the first pitch he sees. Down 0-1, the beer batter of the game. He's reached base safely in 2 at-bats thus far, or should I say 2 plate appearances, as he's reached on a fielder's choice and a base on ball so far tonight. And he's came in to score 1 of the 2 runs for these Beavers, but trying to drive him in now. Cut the lead to 1, tie it up, or even bring your team into the lead. Won't do it here on that tough swing on the 1-2 pitch, or on the 1-1 pitch.
It's great to see this pace Cronin's attacking the players with, whether he's not looking good out there, has some bad control, or he's firing 7 innings of 1-run ball. Always his pace is extremely fast, and that reminds me the most of now Major Leaguer Randy Dobnak, and there's a reason his name is there for Pitcher of the Year. Cronin has got a great shot at that.
We'll talk a little bit more about Mr. Dobnak in a second as the 1-2 misses away and low. But yeah, we had our first player out of the USPBL make it to the major leagues, and Randy Dobnak just a couple of weeks ago made his USPBL debut against the Cleveland Indians in a relief effort, went 4 innings, didn't allow any runs, no walks, 3 strikeouts, as this one in the dirt, but Barbie able to somehow keep it in the vicinity to where the runner, Ordonez, could not break for the plate. But after his MLB debut, I should say, Dobnak was in fact released, went back to AAA, had how many outings with the Red Wings?
I believe he had 3, yes. He was sent down, and then more recently he was called back up, and in fact he yesterday was able to pitch in their afternoon game and went 3 innings in a game they were ahead by, I believe, 7 runs at the time. We gave up no earned runs. There were 2 unearned, obviously. No walks, no Ks, 53 pitches, and that one goes foul. 39 strikes for him. And that gave him his first career save. And in fact, it was his first professional save since his college days, which isn't professional, so first professional save ever for him. And the more interesting part is that was the 9th pitcher this year, or excuse me, the 6th pitcher this year for the Twins to get their save, just different pitchers, which is, I believe, the first time it's been done since the 1960s for the Minnesota Twins.
Wow. So some history being shown there, and some history being made right there is Matt Cronin able to get a looking strikeout there from Adam Gauthier on the payoff pitch as the Beavers leave them loaded but do get another run here in this home half of the 4th as we head to the 5th. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. We head to inning number 5. If you're just joining us, it's been a whale of a 4th inning. Beavers got a run on an RBI single from TJ Ward in inning number 1, but then it was Westside who compiled 4 runs on 5 hits in the long 4th inning to bring the score to 4-1, and then the Beavers do leave the bases loaded in the home half of the 4th inning, but get a run to cut the lead to 2 as TJ Ward with a quick throw over to first base, and he needed it as Sonny Cortez, with plenty of speed down that line, is in fact retired for out number 1. The 4-3 putout is recorded, but must mention the new arm on the mound for the Beavers. That, of course, is Jared Price, as the day is done for Garrett Chrisman. He goes 4 innings, count it, allows 4 earned runs on 5 hits, and in total had just 2 walks, but did have 4 strikeouts. But in the end, a underwhelming day for the starter for the Beavers, as they needed their man to get as many innings in as possible, try and leave the game with the lead, but that is not the case, as Whisker looks at a ball after going down in the count 0-1 to start. But back to the action on the bump. That, of course, we have Jared Price, the right-hander out of Midwest City, Oklahoma, went to Oklahoma Christian, as Jared Price on the 1-1 misses the zone there, brings the count now to 2-1 against Ethan Whisker, who's looking for his second hit of the night. But Jared Price taking a quick look as the 2-1 taken for a deep fly out into left field, as Doug Trimble has no idea where it is, as it doesn't matter. Ethan Whisker hits one over the fence, basically into the sky, as that is his league-leading 13th home run of the year, and he adds on some insurance here for Westside with the solo shot here in this top of the 5th. That's a big-time play from a big-time player, and after Adam Gauthier struck out with the bases loaded to strand 3 runners on, and then your counter MVP racer, if you will, next inning hits a solo shot to add some insurance and reach his base safely, if you will, for the 3rd straight time tonight. Ethan Whisker looking to etch his name into the 2019 MVP slot, as Will Johnson up there for the 3rd time tonight. 0 for 2 with a strikeout and a fly out to center field. Takes a healthy cut on the 1-0, brings it to 1-1. But back to the man that's on the mound, as we were interrupted there from the home run from Ethan Whisker. Mentioned Jared Price out there on the bump for these Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers, and taking a quick look. This pitch swung on and missed. Will Johnson down on strikes for the 2nd time out of 3 tries tonight. Quickly 2 outs after the home run from Whisker. But Jared Price mentioned went to Oklahoma Christian University. Made his USPBL debut in a non-public game back on July the 3rd, so he joined this league a little late into the season. But overall, the numbers for Price, as we pull up the stats for the pitchers, Price on the year, 3.55 ERA with an 0-2 record through 10 appearances, 3 starts, 25 and a third innings pitched. He's allowed 11 runs on 27 hits, 12 walks to 18 strikeouts, as Dan Williams works the count 1-1. Nobody on, 2 outs, as the Beavers trying to desperately get out of this 5th inning with just the 1 run allowed. That was almost 2, as that one taken for quite the ride, but it is well foul. Williams now down in the count 1-2. Dan Williams, mentioned coming to us from the Houston, Texas area, as he was right around this time of the year last year. The Unicorns were in the race with the Beavers and also the Mammoths. But Dan Williams had to leave the league after the last regular season weekend. That was right around this time last year, but it was because he had his own wedding to attend. Can't miss that. Did miss the playoffs in 2018, but looking to stick around and help his team get to that ultimate goal of what would be the championship win. Is this one back up the middle, a little ricochet off of Jared Price, but Anthony Maselli there to back him up and make the play on the run, as the Mammoths do get an insurance run with the solo shot from Ethan Whisker, his league-leading 13th of the season. Make it 5-2. We head to the home half of the fifth. Beavers need some offense. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. All right, everybody, back into the booth we go. As the night started off a little shaky for Matt Cronin, he ends up cruising as, of course, I jinx him right on cue. And that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, is a fine lesson on why you never allow the pitcher to field the ball when it's a pop-up in the infield. That right there is on Jake Polshin. Should have called off his should have called off his pitcher, and who knows what that can lead to. You know, the Beavers with a glimmer of hope as first error on the season is made for Matt Cronin on the bump, as that is a tough, tough spot to sit in. Haranek doesn't lollygag down the line, and he gets there safely as TJ Ward standing in now. Started the night off hot with an RBI single, but since then he struck out on 3 straight pitches and stranded 2 base runners in that third inning. But a good start to this at-bat. Looks at ball 1. Fouls off the second try to even the count up, as the Mammoths out in front now with that 5-2 lead, courtesy of Ethan Whisker's league-leading 13th home run of the season, as Cronin gives up a hard-hit ball over there to Webb Little at the hot corner, and he is unable to stay in front of that one. Another sort of miscue play from a defender for these Westside Woolly Mammoths, as yes, that ball was hit hard, but that's probably a play that you should make. Is Matt Cronin going to get visited here by his infielders, and they're going to come together and say, guys, we got to pick this up. Can't be lollygagging here with just a 3-run lead halfway through this ball game. And you got some good hitters coming up. I mean, this whole lineup for the Beavers can make you pay with just one swing of the bat, as TJ Ward will reach base safely on what looks to be technically a single. And they're going to give him the benefit of the doubt since it was hit so hard. But now you got Haranek at second, Ward at first. And what is the tying run, Doug Trimble up at the plate. But he's had a tough go so far in his USPBL tenure. Doug Trimble for these Beavers so far this season, just 5 for his first 29, as he's got now 11 starts under his belt. And excuse me, I take that back. Trimble's day is done. We're going to bring up Jordan Pontius, as this is the first time that I have seen him. Taking a quick look down the list here for the Beavers, as Pontius does have one outing so far in the USPBL, and this being his second. Hits a hard hit ball out there to right field, but it is caught by Whisker on a line. So that's a big first out for these Westside Woolly Mammoths, as runners remain at first and second with one out, catching up on the scoreboard there. Sorry, kind of doing a couple of jobs at once, but here comes a big spot for Nick Campana. Singled and then scored in the last inning in the fourth, but he's trying to drive in some runs for the Beavers in this instance. Haranek would need a long single to drive him in, as Campana, good cut there on the 81-mile-an-hour pitch, but he can't get a hold of it, as he's quickly down 0-1. Mentioned Campana now with 7 games in a row. He's reached base safely, as the slider from Cronin at 79 fouled off the bat of Campana, who's now quickly down in this count 0-2. Campana ready for the 0-2 from Cronin. This one, fastball right down Broadway, but Campana thought it might have been a little bit outside, as he is rung up on strike. Strikeout number 5 on the night for Cronin, who you can see him take a deep breath and a pause after that strikeout. Try and remain even-keeled. Don't want to get too excited. Don't want to get too defeated. Try and stay right around that even level of keeping your wits about you. As Haranek on second. Beavers desperately trying to avoid leaving multiple base runners on for what would be the 4th inning out of 5, as Ordonez looks at ball 1 to begin this at-bat. They left 2 runners on in the first. Nobody in the second when they went down 1-2-3. They left 2 more runners on in the third, and then 3 more runners on in inning number 4, as Ordonez looks at ball 2 quickly ahead in the count 2-0 comfortably. But no matter how far ahead in the count you are against a guy like Matt Cronin, you're never, ever out of it. As the 2-0 comes home, fastball misses just outside. As the count now 3-0 from Cronin to Ordonez. And if I'm number 26, I would be keeping that bat on my shoulder, maybe show a little fake bunt to try and work the bases loaded here on this 3-0. And instead of ball 4, Ordonez is going to get called back to see at least one more pitch there from Cronin, as the pitch count continuing to rise. He was at 84 pitches through 4 innings, so this is without a doubt his last inning of work no matter what, as there is 2 outs up on the board. Apologies for having the 1 up there. Haranek reached on an error from Cronin. Ward reached on a single, but a line out to right and a strikeout have gotten the first 2 outs of the inning. But Ordonez walks for the 2nd consecutive time in as many innings, and that'll load the bases for Alec Olin, the number 9 hitter. Tying run on the base pass, and this is another big instance in this ball game, but it looks like Matt Cronin might not be able to get out of this 5th inning of work. So they're talking. I haven't seen anybody exit the bullpen just yet. There is somebody getting loose down there, taking a quick look at who that might be. Cronin's going to get to stay in this one for at least another batter. Looks to be Reed Feely out there in the bullpen, getting loose just in case he needs to come in a tough spot in this inning. But looks like it's going to be Cronin's battle to try and get the Mammoths out of. as Olin did single in the last inning, so you're looking at a guy who feels comfortable at this point in time as the slider misses well away. Cronin with one of his toughest starts of the season. Not necessarily want to say he's letting the moment get to him, but bigger stage, sometimes the nerves can play a factor as Olin, ready for the 1-0, swings through the slider at 81 miles an hour, brings the count even. If I'm Cronin, I might be sticking with the slider throughout the rest of this at-bat, just on the case of hoping that Olin can kind of feel uncomfortable throughout the presence of the at-bat. It's this one, hit to the shortstop. Dobson kind of eats him up a little bit, and the throw to second is not in time. Ordonez slides in safely on the miscue from Dobson, and that allows Jack Haranek to come in to score. And I'd be shocked if they did not call that an error up on the board, as you can't call it a fielder's choice. There's no put out there. As Ward gets to third, Ordonez does get to second. Olin reaches on the miscue, and the error is in fact called on Dobson. And that's going to unfortunately end the night for Cronin. He's not going to be able to get out of the fifth. The Beavers cut this lead to 2 and still have the bases loaded here in the home half of the fifth. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. All right, big-time scenario for both of these teams. Top of the order, Anthony Maselli up for these Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers, coming in against a guy who has been lights out so far in this 2019 USPBL season. As Maselli looks at ball number 1 to begin this at-bat, it is Reed Feely, the California native, came to us from Bellevue University for 2 years. Same school as Ben McKendall, starter in the Arsenal for the Mammoths. A 3.13 ERA through 2 seasons and 31 appearances, 20 starts for Feely, 154 strikeouts to just 40 walks over about 150 innings of work. Also played for the Bakersfield Train Robbers in the 2019 season this year as the 2-0 in there for called strike 1, as Maselli was looking for his 4th consecutive walk in this game, which is unprecedented. But back to Reed Feely as he's ready for the 2-1 to Maselli. This one in there for called strike 2. Maselli going to have to battle now. But Feely played earlier this year in the Pecos League with the Train Robbers. Started 12 games, pitched 73 innings, striking out 94 hitters while only walking 25. So a guy who throws way more strikeouts than he does walks. He is a prime example of that. But bases still loaded for the Beavers as they trail it by 2. Runner on third is Ordonez. Runner on third is Ward. Runner on second is Ordonez, and Alec Oland over there on first. Little hit and run action being shown. And as you can tell, it was called there by Chris Newell. As Maselli continuing to fight in this at-bat. He has seen at least 5 pitches in every single plate appearance tonight. That's tremendous stuff, and that's part of the reason he's up at the top of this order. Payoff pitch once again from Feely. Big fly. Looks like it's going to be enough to get out of the inning. Pulsion getting called off by Cortez, rightly so, as the Beavers again leave the bases loaded back-to-back innings, but not before they get an extra run. Make it 5-3 as we head to the 6th. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. All right, we're through 5 here on this Friday night at Jimmy John's Field. Last regular season Friday of the season, as it'll be Drew Kitson, Jake Pulsion, Jake Barbie due up 6-7-8 for Westside in this frame as Kitson looks at called strike 1 to begin this at-bat as Jared Price out there for another inning of work. Hard hit ball out to Alec Oland, who ranges all the way to the track as Drew Kitson has put a nice bat on the ball tonight. But just unfortunate on 2 different circumstances, as he does have a RBI single and a run scored so far, but that is a tough line out to right field. 1 up and 1 down for Jared Price, who's now at 15 pitches through an inning and a third. His only blemish, that solo shot off the bat of Ethan Whiskers, 13th league leader in that category, as Pulsion up to the plate now, looks at ball 1. To begin his at-bat. Pulsion on the night. He had an RBI single in his last at-bat, same as Kitson, but cannot hold back on the 1-0 pitch there. Looked to be a called strike either way. So Price needs to have a very good 6th, a very good 7th, and who knows if he pitches well enough in these 2 innings, can he end up continuing on as the 1-1 pitch fouled off of not just the bat of Pulsion, but off of the catcher Gauthier as he is gingerly going back to the pitcher's mound. Not sure exactly where he got that one, but you can tell he's in a little bit of pain here, and Polshin continues to stay alive in the battle. As Gauthier, you can tell, got it where you'd like to not. So he rearranges on his way back towards home plate. Price looking for his second strikeout of the night. Retired Will Johnson via the swing and the miss for his second out in the last inning. As this one, too, misses in the dirt. Not that Gauthier needed to make the stop, but just kind of goes to show you the type of player that he is. Took one where you don't want it in one pitch, and the next one he's dropping down to block the next one, even though no one's on base, as the breaking ball swung on and missed there from Polshin. 2 up and 2 down for Jared Price here in inning number 6, and Jake Barbie coming up to the plate now, 1 for 2 with a single, a run scored, and a pop out to shortstop, who's now reached base safely in 8 straight games. So 2 outs, nobody on. Not a soul getting loose in that left field bullpen for the Beavers, as this looks like it's Price's game until things kind of go haywire, and that's probably the approach for Chris Newell throughout the rest of this game, because we know Jared Price has had at least 1 or 2 instances where he's thrown a lot of innings in an outing. The 1-0 to Barbie. Fastball misses inside. Could have been a called strike, but Gauthier unable to squeeze onto it. I'm sure he's still feeling a little bit discomfort. It was Kitson, Polshin, Barbie, and Webb Little, and Ryan Dobson, that ended up compiling 5 straight singles, all on 2 outs in that 4th inning that gave them their 4 runs out of the 5, as Barbie, now at 2-1, swings at one well out in front of it, and he's now even in this count at 2-2, as Jared Price trying to quietly get the what would be first conventional 1-2-3 inning from the Beavers pitcher tonight. Chrisman had an unconventional 1-2-3 inning back in the 2nd. Faced only 4 batters in the 1st, only 4 batters in the 3rd, but it was that long 4th that kind of took him out of the game, as Barbie fouls off another one. He remains at the count at 2-2. Barbie coming to us from Statesville, North Carolina, as Barbie in 2018 in the USPBL batted just .248. He's bumped that average up to .276 this year. That's a world of improvement, as this one in on the hands at 91. Fouled off. Good pitch from Jared Price, but not a bad job from Barbie to make contact with it and at least stay alive. Keep this inning going for Westside, as it's been back and forth. Beavers out in front. They were up 1-0 after 1 inning, and it remained that way through the first 3 frames, but Westside with 5 runs in their last 2 innings of work have been able to turn the tide for this contest, as Jake Barbie now works the count full. 7 pitches in this battle. Jared Price trying to get that 1-2-3 frame. We'll see if it will happen. Payoff pitch. Fastball misses up and away, as the 2-out walk in the books, as Barbie reaches base safely for the 2nd consecutive time. Webb Little, speaking of reaching base consecutive amounts of times, he has yet to have been retired this evening. A walk on 8 pitches in inning number 3, and then had a 1-2 count RBI single that drove in the run in the 4th, that long 4th inning for the Mammoths, as first pitch to Webb Little misses in the dirt. Good eye there from number 44, who hasn't had a ton of opportunity this year, but taking advantage of it when it matters most later in this season. Is this one a chopper over to Maselli at shortstop? A little transition over to the second baseman and TJ Ward, and the force out is made as the Mammoths get a base runner, but nothing more in the 6th. We head to the home half. Beavers trail by 2. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. Welcome back to the booth and the USPBL YouTube channel. Rich Borland back with you for this one. Ross Haffey, Adam Gauthier, Jack Haranek. Could be a big inning for the Beavers, but not if Reed Feely has anything to say about it. As I mentioned a little bit about where he came from, but I hadn't gotten just yet to where he's at on the season with the Westside Woolly Mammoths. A 1.35 ERA through 5 relief appearances this season. 6 2/3 innings pitch coming into play tonight. Just 1 earned run on 6 hits, but no walks to 8 strikeouts has put this right-hander in this situation, and for good reason, as Haffey on the 1-1 pitch fouls it off, can't hold back. Feely trying to get strikeout number 1 in this inning. Won't be able to do it as this one into center field, but it's Drew Kitson with a highlight reel type of catch laying out into right center field, and that is a big-time takeaway from what could have been extra bases and a leadoff one, in fact, as that is what we love to see from Drew Kitson. He's already made it onto SportsCenter's top 10 plays once before. Could see it again here tonight in a very, very big spot as he shades back towards left center field. As Adam Gauthier now stands in. Nobody on, 1 man out as Reed Feely gives a tip of the cap to his center fielder. Back to work he goes. Adam Gauthier with a big fly out to left field, but it's going to fly just shallow of that wall in left field. Will Johnson underneath it right where the warning track meets the grass as he makes the catch on the run to his right. 2 up and 2 down on 2 very potential big fly balls as 2 up and 2 down, 2 big-time bats being retired as Reed Feely feeling himself at the moment. So here comes Haranek trying desperately to get some type of ball to land in that outfield grass. You see the shift evident here. The second baseman, Sonny Cortez, playing in shallow right field. Ryan Dobson kind of moving over into that second base position where you'd be at as a second baseman if there was a runner on second covering the bag. And then over there at third base, Webb Little, he's playing at the normal shortstop position. So Haranek, after looking at after looking at strike 1, he looks at ball 1. So it's even. Haranek on the night, 1 for 3 with a single, a reach on an error, and then a ground out to first base as he's going to end up grounding out back to the pitcher in his 4th plate appearance. The Beavers have 2 big-time hits from Ross Haffey and Adam Gauthier, but unfortunate for them, it found mitts of the outfielders for Westside. Some big-time plays out there in the outfield grass as the Beavers go down in order in the 6th. We head to the 7th. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, appreciate you sticking through us with this one as we're through 6 innings, and it's a tight one. Westside out in front by just the 2 runs as the Beavers desperately needing a victory tonight to allow them to stay in the race for not just second, but also first place, as it's the top of the order. Due up in this inning, Jared Price out there for his 3rd inning of work as Dobson shows bunt, pulls back as that one almost got a piece of him. But the Mammoths looking for some insurance in this frame as they got their top of the order up. Perfect time to do it. Dobson on the night, 1 for 3. He was 0 for 2 to start with a ground out to third and then a strikeout in the third. But he got an RBI single in that long 4th inning as he is trying to make something happen as the leadoff man in this inning. Looks at the 2-1, looked to be a bit low as the count now at 3-1 on the leadoff man. Jared Price, like I said, out there for his 3rd inning of work. At about 35 pitches at this point in time, as that one looked like it might have been a little bit inside, according to the body language there from Dobson. But it's in there for called strike 2, so Price brings the count back to full, trying to get the leadoff man out. And this one will, in fact, be able to do it. Dobson thought he had ball 4 for sure, but back-to-back close calls there for strikes get the job done for Jared Price as the first man is out in the inning as Dobson thought that he had ball 4 definitely. He really tried to sell that one, but won't be able to get the job done as it's now Sonny Cortez's turn. It's a really good opportunity in this outing for Westside, but not if Sonny Cortez or Ethan Whisker can get things going. As Sonny Cortez looks at called strike 1 to begin this at-bat. Now, Sonny Cortez won't be the guy to give you an insurance run with a power shot, as he does have 1 home run on the year, but he is definitely not known for that power. But Ethan Whisker looming on deck. Doesn't matter if Cortez gets on or not. There's always a run opportunity when you got Ethan Whisker up at the plate. As the 1-1 pitch tried to enter the back door with that breaking ball. Great frame job from Gauthier, but can't get the call from our home plate umpire. As the count now 2-1 on Cortez. Hard cut there on the 90-mile-an-hour fastball, but it's well foul. Good time pitch there as Price threw that one inside enough to not allow Cortez to put it in between the lines. Nobody on, 1 out. Mammoths out in front by just the 2 runs. Price doing a good job in this game outside of the solo shot he gave up to Ethan Whisker back in just his 2nd battle of the night. So Cortez works the count full. Price has to throw a strike here. The payoff pitch misses up and away as the 1-out walk is recorded. And that's the last guy you want on the base pass. Well, I guess technically between Cortez and Dobson, it's sort of a pick your poison between the two, as there's nobody getting loose in that bullpen for Birmingham Bloomfield, but Chris Newell's going to go out there and have a conversation with the right-hander. Mentioned Jared Price on the season for Birmingham Bloomfield coming into play tonight. The numbers have been fairly good, as his ERA so far this season, taking a quick pull, but Jared Price, the 3.55 ERA in 10 total appearances. He does have an 0-2 record, but through 25 and a third innings pitched this year, he's only allowed 10 earned runs, just 12 walks to 18 strikeouts. Batters are hitting .276 against him. But that's the beauty of the game of baseball. You can throw all the stats out the window because none of the past has anything to do with what is happening right here and now. Whisker, he's had a great night, though. A single, a home run, and a walk with 2 runs scored. As he looks at called strike 1 to begin his 4th plate appearance of the night. But he has been unstoppable this evening in that MVP conversation. And I mentioned how he hit his league-leading 13th home run of the season earlier tonight. And I was having a conversation with our public address announcer prior to the contest today. That home run that Ethan Whisker hit in that 5th inning was his 24th home run in his 2 years in the USPBL. And with that home run he hit earlier tonight, he's just 1 home run shy of a record in a career in the USPBL, as Nick Wilson from the Beavers way back at the beginning of the USPBL tenure. In his 2 seasons, he had 25 home runs. So Whisker just 1 home run away from tying the, if you will, career record in the USPBL, as the count drops to 1-2 on the Clio, Michigan product. Jared Price trying to get strikeout number 2 in the inning, strikeout number 4 on the night. Won't get it here. A pitch out would have led to a caught stealing, but unable to hold on to it was Maselli, the shortstop, trying to make the play. Or excuse me, that was Pontius, who had entered the game for Trimble offensively in the previous inning. TJ Ward actually went to left, so it was Pontius who was unable to squeeze that ball at second, and because of it, now over to third base goes Cortez. The Mammoths just 1 base knock away from driving in a big-time insurance run, but Ethan Whisker is going to go down on strikes here. He tried to be the hero, unable to come through in the time of need, as Cortez will remain on third for at least this scenario, but 2 strikeouts in the inning for Price. Big-time stuff, as Will Johnson trying to avoid his 3rd strikeout of the night. 2 of those via the swing and the miss, outside of a fly out to center field back in the 4th, as Johnson looks at ball 1 to begin this at-bat. Mentioned tomorrow it will be Westside versus the Unicorns, as Johnson takes a cut at the 1-0, hit to the left side of the infield. Maselli with the throw foot play, not an easy one to make. He saves the run and gets the out at first base to not allow Westside to score a insurance run in the top of the 7th. We head to stretch time, as the Beavers looking to get some type of life in the home half. It'll be TJ Ward, Pontius, and Campana coming up. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. Welcome back, everybody, up to the booth. Rich Borland back with you. TJ Ward starting things off for the Beavers, as back out there for another inning of work. Reed Feely for Westside, as TJ Ward fouls off the 1-0 pitch down that third baseline. As tell you what, great inning in the 6th there for Reed Feely, as he came in the middle of that 5th frame and got the put out from Anthony Maselli to pop out after a long 4th and 5th for Matt Cronin. But the count now 2-1 on TJ Ward, who's 2 for 3 on the night with 2 singles, a strikeout, a run scored, and an RBI, as he has provided a lot for the Beavers tonight, courtesy of 2 of their 3 runs. Trying to make something happen in the leadoff spot in this 7th. Sticks the bat out with 2 strikes, and look at that. Get the job done. That is a textbook scenario there for the leadoff man. Taking the ball to the opposite field, down with 2 strikes. And that is exactly what Chris Newell needed. Leadoff man is on, and here comes number 9. That, of course, is Mr. Pontius, the new face in the USPBL, as Jordan, in his 2nd outing with the Beavers, trying to make a name for himself, as he's got a world of opportunity here. Swings through the first as he's down 0-1 to start. Count 0-1 on the batter. TJ Ward over there at the first base bag. He's not a crazy threat on the base paths. As Pontius looks at ball 1. Count now even on the number 9 on the roster. Mentioned he came in defensively, replacing Doug Trimble. As Reed Feely back up there, the 1-1, a base knock there for Pontius. So back-to-back singles for the Beavers really give them some life here in this home half of the 7th, in which they desperately need. So a runner gets into scoring position. And this is a big-time scenario managerial-wise, because you have Nick Campana coming up to the plate. He's 1 for 3 on the night, but something that Chris Newell doesn't go with a lot, and that's the game of small ball. And this is a situation that definitely provides the opportunity. Runners on first and second with nobody out. Your team is down by 2 runs. With a bunt, you could put runners into scoring position with just the 1 out for Adán Ordóñez and Alec Oland, as this is a big-time scenario. I just heard from our director of food and beverage, Mr. Nate Liska, we have a big fan watching tonight. That, of course, is Jameson, big Westside fan. Appreciate the watching tonight. And speaking of those Mammoths, Brian Kluppe, manager out there trying to settle his guys down in a scenario that does not really provide a lot of opportunity to be settled down, because you got nobody out. Tying run already on the base pass in the bottom of the 7th inning, and even though Nick Campana is batting in the 7th spot in this lineup, you're talking about a guy who was our first USPBL player of the week this year. Is this one a big fly ball out to left field? If it's fair, it's gone, and it's not. Is this one about 10 or 15 feet left of that foul pole down the line? Nick Campana was that close to making this a 6-5 ball game. So instead, just a big strike 1. And Nick's dad, John, was actually in the house, I believe, last weekend. Always give a nice firm handshake there to Mr. Campana when he is in attendance. I'm sure he's tuning in tonight, trying to see what his son can do. And Nick down 0-1, but had a really good swing on the first try there from Reed Feely. Let's see what happens here on the 0-1 pitch. A good cut. Hit past the diving third baseman, Webb Little. Rounding third, headed for home is TJ Ward, and he's going to come in to score, sliding in safely. One college teammate bringing in another. The Hartford Products coming up clutch here in this home half of the 7th, and the Beavers all of a sudden cut this lead to 1 and still have 2 base runners on with nobody out, and all of a sudden the tide turning in favor of Birmingham Bloomfield, as Brian Kluppe, the manager, going out there to take out Feely. His night is done, and when we come back, we'll let you know who's coming in to pitch. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. right, as this plot continues to thicken, new arm on the mound, the right-hander out of Bryan, Texas. That's Brady Batten, as he ends up, oh, hold on, ladies and gentlemen, a big-time miscue there from the Westside infielders. You saw the base runner. That's, of course, Pontius, who was out there at second, had a way too comfortable lead in between second and third. Jake Barbie took full notice of it and ends up throwing it over to second base, and it ends up getting under the glove of Cortez and goes into center field as Pontius gets over to third. So runners now on the corners, tying run at that third base bag. Campana stays put over at first, so runners on the corners. Ordonez works the count 1-0 to start. And I'll tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, for as comfortable as Westside has felt in this entire ball game, things are starting to turn as the Beavers, with one run in this home half of the seventh, is going over there to second base is Campana. You saw Ordonez on the 1-0 try to swing at that ball, try and force a little bit of a tough try for Barbie to throw the ball to second, but with how out of the zone that pitch was from Batten, he ended up allowing himself to hold off on the pitch. And I'll tell you what, Brady Batten, who's another new face in the USPBL, he's made 8 appearances, but through those 8 outings, he's got a 3.52 ERA. And alongside that, in 7 2/3 innings pitched, he's got 3 saves this year. He's allowed 3 earned runs on 3 hits, just 4 walks to 9 strikeouts. But Ordonez trying to work a 4-pitch walk, won't do it here, as the count now at 3-1 to Ordonez, as he was looking for his 3rd consecutive walk after grounding out to shortstop back in the 2nd inning. But I don't think he's looking to walk here. You got 2 runners in scoring position, and your team is down by 1 in a critical ball game. You got to be looking to swing the bat, even though he was, in fact, looking for ball 4 again here. And now the count is rung full, and you see Chris Newell adamantly talking there, stepping up out of the third base coach's box to talk to Adon, and he says, hey, you're here, you got the bat in your hands, I put you in this lineup for a reason, give me some offense here. The payoff pitch misses inside, so Ordonez does in fact look at a good amount of pitches in that at-bat, and he works his 3rd consecutive walk that loads the bases for the bottom part of this order in Alec Oland. Still nobody out on the board for the Beavers, and I was talking with Chris Newell earlier on prior to the start of this ball game. It was either last week or the week beforehand. I believe it was last weekend. Chris Newell's team had bases loaded with nobody outs, and they were unable to get a run in the instance, and that was something that he said just absolutely tugged at his heartstrings, because the type of hitting profile Chris Newell has, I mean, you got a guy who's got back-to-back championships. His team is never out of a ball game. And for the Mammoths, who were up 4-1 going into the bottom of the 4th inning, Beavers have strung across 3 runs in the last 4 frames to the Mammoths just 1 in their last 3 tries. But count now 2-0 on Oland. Bases loaded. You got to be careful if you're Brady Batten. Last thing you want is a 3-0 count with bases loaded, and I like the aggressive approach there from Oland on the 2-0 to try and make something happen. You got no outs on the board. Worst case scenario, you hit a hard ground ball that could lead to maybe a force out at home, but either way, you got to put the ball in play and force those fielders to make something happen. Dobson, a guy who has been tremendous defensively this year, coming into play tonight. Dobson had a .955 fielding percentage, but did make that critical error earlier on in this ball game, as count now to 3-1 on Oland. And here's a scenario where you definitely approve of not letting that bat off your shoulder. You got nobody out with bases loaded and an opportunity for ball 4, but a good job there from Batten to find the strike zone in a moment where he needed it more than anything. Payoff pitch, swung on and missed. Oland strikes out for the first time tonight, as that is a big timeout from Brady Batten, who I mentioned coming into play tonight. He had been tremendous through 8 relief appearances with that count it, 3.52 ERA through 7 2/3 innings pitched, but after 3 straight singles from Ward, Pontius, and Campana, and then the walk to Ordonez, a big-time strikeout for out number 1 for Batten, as it doesn't get easier. Top of the order up now is Anthony Maselli trying to make something happen, and I'll tell you what, though, Beavers already twice tonight have left the bases loaded, and 2 other separate times they've left 2 men on. So in total, they've left 10 base runners on the base path tonight, as the 1-0 to Maselli misses up and away. Great hitters count here at 2-0, but with 1 out, I still might wait to see a strike here. Infield now at normal depth. Middle infielders kind of playing in. The 2-0. Big swing, big miss there as the count now 2-1. Mentioned Maselli already with 3 walks in the contest tonight and an RBI, but trying to drive in more than 1 here. Looked like there was a hit and run. Maselli was absolutely fooled on it, and a big-time base running blunder as Pontius is thrown out for out number 2, and Chris Newell cannot believe the missed sign there from his batsman. So Pontius gets caught in a rundown as the count does go to 3-1 there on Maselli, and it looks as if it was Maselli who missed that hit and run opportunity. Maybe it was a squeeze, but I will find out from Newell later on. Either way, that's a big-time miss, as there's now 2 outs up on the board, and Beavers still trail this one by 1. That is a big-time miscue there from a guy who's only played in 1 other game for the Beavers all season. 3-1 pitch to Maselli. Swing and a miss, as this one now has rung full. Runner over there on first. Ordonez will be going on the pitch, but Campana over there on third. He's waiting to come in to score. He needs his teammate Maselli to come through in a big-time situation. Big fly, right field. Whisker backing up to the track at the wall, and he makes the catch as his back hits the fence, keeps the ball into the park and in the mitt, and the Beavers strand 2 more in the home half of the 7th, as they do get a run, but not as many as they would have liked. They still trail it by a run as we go to the 8th. The base running blunder proving costly for the Beavers as they still trail by 1. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. We head to inning number 8 as the night continues on. It has been a really fun game this evening as it's been back and forth all night long. Beavers with a run in the first, then the Mammoths with a 4 spot on 5 hits in the top of the 4th inning, and then another run in the bottom of the 4th inning for the Beavers. They get another one in the 5th after Westside scored their 5th run of the game in the top half of that frame on the solo shot from Whisker. After 5, it was 5-3, and then in the home half of the 7th, Beavers do get another run, but they have, in total now tonight, have stranded 12 men on base, and that has been the story. Base running blunders accompanied with leaving men on. It has been the Achilles heel tonight for the Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers as Stan Williams up at the plate now for Westside. Fouls off the 2-1 count from Jared Price, who's out here for another inning of work as he continues to fight on in this game, which he's trying to get the victory out of. Still not a soul technically pitching right now for the Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers. There is somebody playing catch at this point in time as Williams swings through the 5th pitch of the at-bat, and Price gets strikeout counted number 5 on the night already, as it is Dylan Collette, the left-hander, who is now officially starting to get loose down in left field, but it's Kitson up now. RBI single and a run scored for him so far tonight. Outside of that, a ground out into a double play, but he did hit a nice line out to right field in the 6th inning. So quickly, the count 0-1. Price looking very sharp tonight. Has not allowed a hit outside of the solo shot from Whisker in the 5th inning. So the last 2 innings, he has gone hitless with 2 walks against him. This one, big fly out to right field, should have enough to stay in the park. Alec Olin going back to the track, and he makes the catch as he runs into the wall. Alec Olin keeps this one in the park, in the mitt, and that is a big timeout against Drew Kitson, who has had 9 home runs in 75 at-bats coming into play today. He was that close from getting his 10th of the season. So Olin does the job, gets the second out. And here comes Jake Pulshin trying to turn the tide here in this top of the 8th inning for as great as Jared Price has done in this relief role tonight, backing up Garrett Chrisman. First pitch, breaking ball, just missed down the outside part of the plate. Not a bad pitch there from the right-hander out of Oklahoma Christian. The 1-0. Ground ball, left side, hit well foul. So the count now even at 1-1. Pulshin on the night, 1 for 3 with an RBI single back in that 4-run inning in the 4th. But outside of that, a looking and a swinging strikeout there for the Menifee, California product. The 1-1 to Pulshin, breaking ball, unable to hold back. He definitely went around. It was called a ball from our home plate umpire, but first base umpire, that of course, Sal Giacomontonio, making the right call there. So Jared Price looking for his first 1-2-3 inning of the evening, and he was that close from getting it as that pitch just missed a little bit outside. We've had 1-2-3 inning in this entire contest for the Beavers defensively. It was an unconventional one back in inning number 2 after Dan Williams had the leadoff infield single, but then it was a ground out that led to 2, and then a strikeout to Pulshin back in that 2nd frame, trying to get a 1-2-3 inning for the first time tonight. Jared Price, payoff pitch, looks good, called strike 3 as Price gets another strikeout in the inning. 2 in total that frame, and in total on the night, that is 6 for Jared Price. We head to the home half of the 8th. Beavers need at least something here in this home half of the 8th to keep the 9th comfortable. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. We are back in the booth, back to the USPBL YouTube channel. Appreciate everybody joining us on this great night for baseball on this 30th of August. Things are getting down to the wire, nitty-gritty. It is all hands on deck right now. Beavers down by a run, bottom of the 8th inning. They got their heart of their order coming up right here against Brady Batten, who's out there for technically his second full inning of work. He came in with 2 outs in that 5th inning and ended up getting that pop out to second from Maselli. Got the 1-2-3 inning in the 6th, but that 7th, it was a doozy. But I'll tell you what, the Beavers tonight have stranded 12 men on base, and hoping to not have that same scenario here for them as Haffey ahead in this count 2-1. A little break right here as Batten steps off. A 2-1 in on the hands at 90 miles an hour brings that count even at 2-2. And I'll tell you what, Haffey, I mentioned his stats towards the beginning of the game, but he's 4th in the league with a .313 batting average, 1st in the league in slugging, top 4 in home run, or 2nd in home runs, 6th in walks, but nothing doing in this scenario as he gets rung up on strikes. Big time first out there for Brady Batten, the Bryan, Texas native, coming in to this scenario. Westside wins this game. That means tomorrow's contest with Utica would be for technically what feels like all the marbles. Westside holds on to this lead as Gauthier swings through the first pitch he sees. If Westside holds on to this lead, they will be tied with Utica going into their matchup with them tomorrow. And the winner of that game would technically be the first place finisher, because tomorrow is the last game for Westside and the last game for Utica in the regular season. As Gauthier trying to make something happen, the 0-2 pitch looked good from up here. Good frame job from Barbie, but a better eye there from Gauthier, the veteran catcher. Not trying to strike out twice via the look tonight, but not if Brady Batten has anything to say about it. The leg kick, the push, the breaking ball swoops away, brings the count even at 2-2 on the 80-mile-an-hour pitch. But Gauthier, he's got a tight grip on that bat. Good motion going behind the plate, and he's ready to go. The 2-2 from the right-hander. Breaking ball, fouled off at 78. You saw Gauthier really reading that pitch and kind of stuck the bat out at the last second to keep the at-bat alive. See what Batten brings this time around. The 2-2. Fastball, big cut, big fly out into center field. Drew Kitson ranging, almost slipped out there in center field as he looks back at a little maybe divot out there, unless he just crossed himself up. But either way, big fly from Adam Gauthier. Cannot go down in the books to tie this one up. Needed about 20 more feet to make it a 5-5 ball game here in the home half of the 8th. Taking a quick look across the board, top 3 hitters in this lineup for the Beavers tonight. Yes, they do have 4 walks, but no hits combined between the top 3 hitters in the lineup. Jack Haranek does have 1 hit tonight. He's 1 for 4 with the single, and then 2 groundouts. Did reach on an error as well when he hit that pop-up that Cronin dropped in the infield, and he ended up coming in to score the 3rd run of the game in that 5th inning. Haranek with a healthy hitter's count. It's 2-0. Batten trying to get a 1-2-3 frame here in this 8th, and what a relief that would feel as Haranek sees the 2-0 in there for called strike 1. As looks as if maybe a ball there from the bullpen in right field got onto the field of play. Taking a quick look. Nobody getting loose at the moment, but it does look as if Dan Williams is sitting out in that bullpen with a jacket covering his right arm, which means he has gotten loose and is trying to stay hot down there in the bullpen. But I'm pretty sure I heard prior to the start of this game that Dan Williams, the pitcher, was going to be the starter in the game tomorrow, but hey, you never know. You got to get there to that stage prior to the conclusion of this one. Haranek fouls the pitch off. Count remains 2-2. and the same story written here. Another foul off into the netting as Horanek trying to reach base safely for the third out of his fifth time tonight. The 2-2 from Batten. Fastball at 91 looked to be the two-seam, misses away. Easy eye there for Horanek. So here comes the payoff pitch. What will the right-hander bring? Sonny Cortez playing deep in the right field spot. This one misses up and away. Batten unhappy with himself. Barbie unable to squeeze onto it. But either way, that was ball 4, as looks as if Batten's going to stick around as long as he has to. And here comes big bad TJ Ward. 3 singles on the night. An RBI and a run scored already, as Horanek works the walk. He's sitting over there on first base, is the tying run. TJ Ward does have 5 home runs this year. He's got a top 9 batting average with that 280 coming into play today. It's, of course, going to go up with the 3 singles that he's got already outside of the 1 strikeout. Count 1-0 on TJ. The right-hander batting with a fastball in there at 89. A healthy cut from Ward, as he was definitely trying to turn this 1-run deficit into a 1-run lead, but he couldn't make contact on it. The long swing keeps him behind the pitch, as the right-hander batting comes set, comes home with it. The 1-1. In on the hands at 80 miles an hour. This one popped up. Won't be an easy play. Pulsion not able to get to it. And I'm shocked at Cortez, a guy who played center field for this team for, I would say, the first 3 quarters of the season before Kitson came back. He's now at the second base position. The amount of speed that he's got over there, I'm shocked he didn't get to it. But either way, TJ Ward stays alive for at least one more pitch. So I mentioned Westside wins this one tonight. They'll face off against the Unicorns tomorrow for the battle of what would be first place. Beavers, though, trying to make that story last a little longer theirs, as Ward fouls off this pitch. Count remains at 1-2. If the Beavers pull off the comeback, and then that's when things would get interesting, as if the Unicorns beat Westside tomorrow after a Beaver victory tonight, then the Beavers win on Sunday, that's when things would get very, very interesting, but still have time for that. As the force out at second is made, TJ Ward can't get the job done as they strand a base runner in the bottom of the 8th. We head to the 9th. Westside looking to get their bottom of the order to the top, and we head to that 9th inning. 5-4 Westside. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. Welcome back, everybody. As the tremendous night is done for Jared Price, he throws 67 pitches across 4 innings of work, allows just the 1 run on 1 hit. It was the solo shot off the bat of Ethan Whisker. It was the second batter that he faced the entire night. And taking a quick look, he faced 15 batters in those 4 innings, allowed 2 walks, struck out 6 in what has been a really great night from the bullpen arm in Jared Price, giving his team a chance at winning this ball game after being down 5 to just 2 earlier on in this game. As count goes to 2-1 on Jake Barbie. It's Barbie, Little, and then back to the top, and Dobson due up for Westside in this inning, as they are desperately looking for some type of insurance in this contest. But not if the new arm on the mound, Dylan Collette, has anything to say about it. But there it goes. Jake Barbie on that 2-1 pitch, hits a base knock into right. And that is a big-time spot from a big-time player. Barbie gets the leadoff man on here for the Mammoths as they're trying to get that insurance run in. Mentioned Dylan Collette now out there for the Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers. And Dylan Collette coming to us from Albany, New York, the UMass Dartmouth product on the season. Collette for Birmingham Bloomfield, the 2.42 ERA through 33 relief outings this year. He does have a 3-4 record as Webb Little, unable to hold back, goes through on the first pitch he sees. Good job there from Gauthier to keep Barbie honest over there at the first base bag. But mentioned Collette in those 33 appearances this year. He's got 44 2/3 innings pitched, 12 earned runs on 37 hits, just 11 walks to 26 strikeouts. Little showing bunt, Collette having to field his position, and this one thrown in the vicinity enough there for Haffey to make the out, but it does go down in the books as a sacrifice. And, of course, Little getting Barbie into scoring position, and that's the motive right now. You got your leadoff man on, and now you have to take this approach of let's get him over for the top of the lineup. Webb Little doing his job, reach base safely in all 3 of his plate appearances with a walk, a single, and a fielder's choice coming into that at-bat as the sacrifice bunt gets let down for out number 1. And here comes Ryan Dobson's try. 1 for 4 on the night with an RBI single, 2 strikeouts, and a ground out to third. There's our good buddy JJ, the field general, up with us in the booth is Ryan Dobson. This one in on the hands. And I'll tell you what, if that pitch was any more closer to the heart of the plate, Ryan Dobson had himself home run number 2 on the year. But a real good pitch from Collette in on the hands. And even though it was a big fly ball, it was shallow enough to stay in the park as Dobson records out number 2. After the leadoff single from Barbie, a sacrifice bunt leads to the fly out to left field, and out there to have a talk with his left-hander, that's Chris Newell, and he's asking for his infielders to, or excuse me, I thought he was pointing to his infielders to come in to have a conversation as well, but maybe just a little defensive schematic conversation there for the shortstop in Pontius. So you got a runner on second, 2 outs, and you got 2 of the best hitters in the league coming up in Sonny Cortez and Ethan Whisker. You're hoping that Cortez is the guy you'll go after. Now, Cortez is the lefty, so you got the advantage here for Collette. But I'll tell you what, if Sonny Cortez doesn't get out here, you got a whole world of trouble because it either means he drives in an insurance run with a base knock, or if he earns the walk, then you got Ethan Whisker up with 2 runners on. As this pitch, an 85-mile-an-hour off-speed toss there from the left hand to Collette, misses low and away. Cortez is not going to be a guy who swings at anything out of the strike zone. He's second in the league with 44 walks coming into play today. Did have 1 in that last plate appearance in the 7th when he worked the full count that led to the walk. He was the only base runner that reached the bases in that 7th inning. Couldn't get any closer than this. 1-run game, top of the 9th inning. So much at stake for both of these teams. Westside trying to get themselves a lock in the championship. Beavers trying to get themselves out of that third-place funk and get them somehow into the semifinal game as Cortez fouls off the 1-0 pitch. And for some of those that might not know, of course, when the regular season is all said and done, the team that finishes in first place goes strictly to the championship game on Sunday next week. Team who finishes in second will have to wait for the semifinals, as the teams who finish in third and fourth will play in the play-in game next Friday, as the Mammoths do strand the base runner as the ground out to second is commenced, and we go to the home half of the ninth. It will be the 6, 7, 8 hitters due up for Birmingham Bloomfield as they need a run. Otherwise, it is third place finish for them as they trail by 1. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. Head back into the action. All the marbles laid up on the table here for the Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers in what is their last line of defense here in this home half of the ninth inning. They trail by 1. If they do not win this ball game, that means they're going to finish this season in that third place finish. And what a tough night it would be to lose, as the Beavers have stranded in total 13 runners on the base paths tonight. If it's not the record, it's definitely close to it. But overall, just a very, very tough night with runners on the base pass as Jordan Pontius trying to get a base runner on out there in center field. Drew Kitson, did he hold on? Yes, he did! Unbelievably clutch catch out there from Drew Kitson, the Wentzville, Missouri native, all the way up here in Michigan, making big-time plays late in the ball game, keeping his team out in front. Big-time tip of the cap there to Drew Kitson out in center field. It's plays like that that win you championships, ladies and gentlemen, as Pontius is retired with the line out to center field for out number 1, and now it's up to Nick Campana to try and keep these Beavers contending in this season for second or first place, as the first pitch to Campana, fastball misses downstairs. But either way, what a wild ball game that we have had here tonight. 1-0 to Campana. Ground ball, left side. Could eat up Dobson, and in between hop with the speed of Campana. Doesn't matter. Ryan Dobson with another great play there defensively. 2 big-time web gems for the Westside Woolly Mammoths defensively in this inning. I'll tell you what, it didn't look as pretty, Dobson's play compared to Kitson's, but it's almost just as tough as a play for a ball that was hit hard off the bat of Campana. That in-between hop, they're never fun. That's why I always told as a kid to charge the baseball. But when you're a guy like Ryan Dobson and you got an arm like him, you don't necessarily need to always charge it. As quickly 2 up and 2 down for the Beavers in this 9th inning, and this could do it. Westside looking to win the regular season crown. They will find out tomorrow when they take on the when they take on the Utica Unicorns for it all. As in the game tomorrow, the winner will officially be the first place team at the end of the regular season. So everything on the line tomorrow. But overall, taking a look at everything that is sitting out in front of me here, Matt Cronin, Garrett Chrisman, neither of them really did anything to necessarily make something happen tonight. For as well as both of them have pitched this year, neither of them really did as well as they wanted to tonight. It was really Jared Price who had the best night on the bump, but you also got to give credit there to Brady Batten, who will end up getting the victory in this contest tonight as he pitched basically the second half of this ball game. The Bryan, Texas native ends up getting, I'm taking a quick look on the season, Brady Batten gets his first decision of the season. He goes to 1-0 in a clutch night as the Westside Woolly Mammoths move up to 27-21. They're officially now tied with the Utica Unicorns as they will take each other on tomorrow. But it was a 4-run inning in the 4th that was all with 2 outs. It was Drew Kitson who had a single with 2 outs, Jake Pulshin right after him, Jake Barbie after him, Webb Little after him, and Ryan Dobson following suit. 5 straight singles in that 4th inning allow the Mammoths to get the victory. Ethan Whisker with the solo shot in the top of the 5th end up being the difference maker. That MVP caliber player looking more and more like the MVP of the season as the Mammoths looking to get their first USPBL championship this year, as we will see them take on the Unicorns tomorrow for first place and be automatically bid into the championship next Sunday. But again, Rich Borland up here in the booth, Matt Cripsey helping me out a little bit here tonight. Again, your final, Westside, 5, Beavers stranding 13 men on base, lose it by 1, and will officially be in the 3rd place spot and take on the Hoppers in the play-in game next Friday. And, of course, we are so excited for what will be on tap for tomorrow night. Drew Kell will be on the call tomorrow, and we are so excited to see what is in store for us. But again, for tonight's contest, this is my last call this season. Again, appreciate everybody tuning in this year for making it a very, very fun 2019 USPBL season, but still a lot to go here in this last regular season weekend. But again, your final score, Westside out in front of this one, 5-4 over the Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers. For the final time, Rich Borland signing off on the USPBL YouTube channel. You stay classy, Utica.